Hello YouTube, Aaron here with a new one. I just want to talk about some of the new changes that I'm going to be doing for my distributions, and I've been doing that quite a lot recently. Sorry for those that have witnessed me being quite tired in my videos, or speaking a bit odd, or acting a bit odd. Needless to say that I haven't done anything in the videos apart from really smoke or maybe swear on the odd scene that could really put anyone off of me. Maybe a few facial expressions that someone might think is a bit odd. Sorry for that. It's just that I've been really tired, aggy, I guess. I'm not going to put anything out on the internet really that, you know, could potentially ruin my image or anything like that. Needless to say, pen to paper, I have got mental health for those that don't really know. It's okay, it's fine, I've got my own back, I pay for my own bills, I've got my own phones and everything else. Yes, I am a bit slow and young-minded in certain aspects of life, but at the end of the day, what is normal, whatever normal is what we perceive it to be. So you could say that's normal and I could say that's bizarre, you know, that's a bit weird, that's a bit weird, that is, that's not normal. And no, yeah, like I just said, normal is what you perceive it to be. So, you know, we'll leave it at that. We've all got mental health in one way, shape or form. How we deal with that is how we deal with it. So, I've been doing a lot recently. I haven't really been sleeping well. And the times that I was posting videos was like 8 o'clock in the morning once I've done something and really thought about, oh, let me have a few hours, I'll wake up, maybe I'll think about something else that I could put in that video. I just thought, right, I need to get this out. So, I've still got my tablet. I'm about to downgrade one of my PCs. I'm using an old setup now. I think my tablet's probably the best way moving forward. My big old tower that I had, quite chunky. Yeah, it was really good for what I was doing, but I could pretty much do the same thing on this. I've had no issues using this for what I do anyway. Needless to say, I just mainly play games and watch films on it at the moment, but I am actually thinking to use it as a whole. So this is a HDMI that I plug into it. I've actually got a few nifties that I plug straight into that. So like, I've got my wireless keyboard, I've got my wireless mouse, I've got that there, Bluetooth headphones. I've got a few nifties from what I normally would have with my phone. So obviously that there was part of my phone. This here I most recently just bought for that. I did have like a hard drive connector thing that would connect to my phone, so I could connect my hard drive. Well, I don't know where that went. I actually bought a few of them that I've lost through moving from London to Birmingham, from Birmingham to Manchester. But yeah, like I said, I've got a few nifties. I'm not wearing my glasses currently. I'm actually only short-sighted, so I don't really need them unless I'm looking at screens or driving, which I haven't done in many years since I had my Peugeot 206, which I think was like maybe 4 years ago. Shout out to Daniel if you know if you know him. He remembers when I was driving about. I had my car for one day driving down the motor. No, I had my car for a day and a half. Drove it on the motorway back home, had a shower, got up the next morning, it broke down on the motorway on me, on the way back to Bracknell. But yeah, basically, I don't think anyone on this video would even know my mate Daniel. I haven't met him in years. So most recently, I've got into making a repository for Arch. For those that don't know, I actually primarily use Arch, and I use now CashOS repos on top of Arch, so they supply their own repository to Arch and custom packages. There's a lot of this going about on the internet, you know. You've got all these different derivatives of distributions, and I like to call them Frankenstein derivatives. I mean, CashOS is probably one of the best Arch. I've been using it. I'm actually in the unofficial CashOS chat. For those that don't know, CashOS is a German Arch distribution. Arch itself is Canadian. Of course, CashOS is German. Then we just add a bit of the English expertise on top of it, because not one of them two different package distributors can clone their system. They might have people that do it, but they don't supply the packages to do it. They only allow you to make an ISO from packages. So you can't clone the system with them. They don't provide the tools. Whether they've got the expertise to do that, I don't know. But from what I understand, the Englishman is the one that's done it for them. So I'm the one that provides the package to clone the system from the installed system, and not just packages that you download, which seems really how it's going to be annoying if you have to install a system every single time from downloaded packages, which is why I built what I built in the first place, so I can just use a simple USB, shove it in a computer, 5 seconds later from a DD'd image, you've got an installed system. And you don't need to rsync or unsquashfs anything. So this is what I've done with my distributions. I've turned my distributions into .images, and they're BTRFS compressed .images, and they're compressed to ZSTD level 22, so the highest compression you can get in a system on BTRFS. So if I would normally have like a 6 GB system, you could straight away say that's around about 3 GB now once that's compressed in that .image. And once you install it, it's still compressed. Of course, it's basically just a normal system in a .image. That's the way that I set it up. So the image itself is a full system with the boot inside, with the boot menu partition inside. You've got the root partition all in one image. So once you DD it to that hard drive, that is just a normal system like it would normally be off of what it was in the first place. That's how I've made it. Of course, if you just DD an image, so if I DD the boot partition and then boot the root partition, you won't have the compression, which is why I do it in my way. But anyway, I would normally say, and I have said in countless videos on here, that I don't agree with using a middleman for packages. So I originally said that you should stick with Arch Repos. He's the one that supplies it. If you want the package, you're going to get it faster because of him. He's obviously supplying the package first. Then you get everyone else, what I would like to say Frankenstein distributions. Sorry CashOS, I fucking love your distribution, yeah, but this is my preference, yeah. So we've got Frankenstein distributions that are actually supplying the same packages, pretty much. They might make their own custom packages and edits to these packages because of their own expertise. E.g. CashOS make their own kernel and custom configs and everything else, as we all know. But at the end of the day, the packages are pretty much all the same. You can go get them from Git, build them, put them in the Arch repo, basically. Now, there's a lot of people doing that, and I used to say, yeah, I only agree with the Arch Canadian repository, and I moved on to CashOS after a while, and that's what I've been on for a while now. For those that don't know, this is the KD Dev desktop from the KD Banana set of packages, which are from the KD Linux repo. And we're going here because I'm a tester and I like to test things. I've been building Plasma 6 before it was even Plasma 6, before it was using Qt6 packages, and that would have been 2024. I did this download an old ISO. So I'm building a repository, and what I'm showing now is what I've had to do to download all the packages that would normally be supplied by your package distributor. So I've actually got 2 repositories I've built that are on GitHub, and they do work currently, although I'm just building the version 2. So I've just downloaded all the packages from what would normally be on Apex CKGE, which I've got in a virtual machine. And what I've done is I've installed my .image, and then I've updated it, and then I've downloaded all the packages that would be on there. Well, Grub Customize has been removed because we don't use that anymore, but all the packages that would be on there are now pretty much in the var Pacman. I'm not really going to be showing how to do a repository on here. I'll show some sort of tutorial. Tutorial is very troublesome. I actually got some of the information off of distrotube, so shout out to distrotube and credits to him if you want to follow him. Also would suggest to subscribe to Chris Titus Tech, because that's who I watch quite a lot, and he's got a lot of information by the day, not just by week or every other day. He sends a lot more information than distrotube. I find that you get more videos from him, but what do I know? I just tend to watch Chris Titus Tech a lot more than distrotube, really. But I do try to keep up to date with them both because they've got a lot of information to share. I just tend to follow Chris Titus Tech a lot more. So I've downloaded all the packages, and the command that I've used is sudo pacman -S and W. I've turned the signature level off so that it will not download all the signature files. So when I go to copy all these, I can just copy the ZCST packages instead of copying signature files as well. If you don't know, there's 1,300 and something packages in here. So 1,384, sorry, I can't see that. So if we come to here and we go to recover, we actually have half of the package list, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to shove the other half. So the other half of the package list starts with this, ends with, so I've got 2 keyboards, I've done that in the last video. So it ends with that one there, and then we've got this package list here, which is what I just got off of DeepSeek. So just remove that keyboard because it's confusing. So all of these packages need to be deleted. That's kind of how you do it. For those that don't know how to make a Pacman repository, you might as well start somewhere. So I definitely could show you something, and we can delete this, I think. We don't care about all that. So the first set of packages are here, and the second set of packages I've just installed. So if we go to libiso burn, DeepSeek being a bit funny recently, not really being, well, actually I think we do already have the package list set up, and that's why that says recover data. I just done this. Yeah, I don't care about the raise the limit. So no, I don't like that. Not nice. So 2 sets of packages, put a space in there. This is the package list for Apex CKG. So every single package apart from Grub Customizer, because that's something I don't provide anymore and will not be using. I'm looking to primarily go into system deboot, and that's done just the fact of my system deboot allows me to have the refined bootloader. I like the artwork that I built for it. I don't know if I'm going to be primarily, no, I don't know if I'm going to do that, to be fair, but I've been thinking about it. So it's not, well, my distributions, they're rolling and they're pretty much unstable in a way. They've always been unstable because nothing is always going to be the same with me, and I like to evolutionize. So I'd like to do better the next day. So what you might have today could be better tomorrow, might be different. I'm very unexpectable. Of course, I'm not going to put some automatic package downloader on my system, although that is something similar to what I built recently. I'm not going to be setting that to automatically download all packages whilst you're playing your game. It's not something I do. As well as that, obviously, using KD dev packages to play games really isn't the best way forward now. We know that, but at the end of the day, if you're going to be on Arch, you might as well be on Arch for what it's worth. Arch is a rolling distribution. We're going to go rolling. We're going rolling on the KD dev packages. Nothing is stable. I've said that countless times now in my videos and even online. And now that nothing is stable, we might as well just stick to not being stable. So if if the KD desktop and Noma's going rolling, so are we. But we're going more than rolling. We're going rolling, baby. We're going KD dev packages. And if I can change that over to KD beta, then all good. As well as that, I will say I will be providing the Plasma desktop packages in the repository, but my distributions will primarily be coming with the KD Plasma 6 dev, or the 7 dev, or the 8 dev. From now on, we're moving on to the dev packages or the beta packages. We're no longer going to be using the primary packages given from Arch repos. So my distributions will be coming with the dev from now on. I'm not doing no stable in that sense. But now, I want to get back to my repository deal, what I'm doing with my repository. So we've got a version 1 repository, we've got a version 2 repository. Version 1 will be the one that's been tested. So I'll be using a set of packages, and I'll install them and I'll test them in my own time. And what I do over time, every so often, say within a month, every month or 2 months, I'll update them packages based on what's been tested. You know, if the because the way I've set up version 1, and yeah, I've spelled it right. The way that I've set up version 1 is that we've got the kernels and then we've got everything else. So all of the packages is in one. All the packages for the base and the desktop. Well, the base would pretty much be a kernel, wouldn't it? But we've got the kernel in one repository, and we've got everything else in the other one. So we've got the desktop and all the Qt6 and everything else in that repository. So I'll of course be using that repository on one of my distributions, and I'll obviously do my tests and keep that into a stable state. So I'll know that then packages won't, when you do install them or if they get updated, that there ain't going to be nothing that could potentially cause your system to bug out, or you know, there's going to be bugs. We know KD desktop is now rolling. It's not LTS anymore. They're telling you not to use Ubuntu. They're telling you not to use Debian. If you're going to be using the desktop, you better stick to Arch, because the desktop is rolling. So this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Of course, the desktop's rolling. We might as well stick with newer features and get the best of the best, you know. Newer features coming out from KDE, why not test the KDE dev? We're going to make it better anyway. Bug report, please do. I have in the past, and I should carry on bug reporting as well. But this is why I'm doing this now, because if the desktop's rolling, then we might as well stick with the times and get with the times. You want to be sticking with the times, then can't go wrong with the dev packages, because you're basically, you're getting it from factory, mate. These are KDE packages from the KDE Linux repos. The KDE Linux repos is official KDE Linux unsigned software. If you didn't know. The KDE Linux repos are unsigned. So I'm only doing what they're doing if for those that have noticed that my repositories are actually unsigned. So for those that don't know, KDE Linux packages and the repositories are unsigned, so mine are going the same way. But anyway, essentially what you do is you download the packages, they get put into the var lib directory, and then we copy them into a folder, which is what I was just about to do, wherever I put them, CacheOS base. You put all of them in there, and I've done a few of them already, so I'm actually not going to be showing the process of copying all the packages that I've just done. But we can essentially show how the process is done. So these are the KDE Banana desktop packages. These were yesterday, so there might be an update today. There's always an update with the KDE dev packages. But essentially what you do is you come here, and I'm pretty much copying what distrotube said, but I've got a lot of commands that have been used, so please bear with me whilst I find the command. It's repo add, something repo add. I had a lot of problems with uploading to GitHub like that, so now GitLab, so I'm now just using GitHub. I wanted to use GitLab, but it just wasn't working well with me. Oh, is that the command? Yeah. Ah, that was the command. Oh, that is just annoying, isn't it? Ah, there it was again. Oh, let's go back. There, yeah. Alright, so I actually need to make a repository for these packages. So I need to make the database and the file thing. So we're going to actually call this the Claude Mods V2. No, they're actually called it's actually called the V2 desktop. So it's just a repository containing the desktop packages. So with the well, I've explained what the V1 is. I actually need to explain what the V2 is. So V2 is going to have the desktop as a repository. It's going to have the kernels as a repository, and then everything else you can think of will be in the rest. So you'll have the beta desktop in because V1's not actually could potentially not have the stable desktop side of it. It might just have just the dev. I haven't worked that one out yet, but I'm going to be shoving the stable desktop in the V2, and basically, yeah. So you've got the kernels as one repository, you've got the desktop as one repository, and then you've got everything else as the third repository. So I'm actually making the kernel repository now, which the packages are online, but the database to download the packages isn't. So I'm naming the database version 2 desktop. We're going to get a db.tar.gz. Now I don't know from the tutorial that I got from distrotube, he just said to rename these files and shove it online. Delete these 2 files here, he says. For those that want to watch it, I'll put the link in the description. But he says to rename these files, and then that's it, just upload them. Now for those that actually just do that, it doesn't work. So yeah, you can just rename file, this one here, to files. You actually don't need that, I don't think. The DB file is going to be corrupt, unless you rename that back to what should be. No, you can actually do this. You don't have to rename it, but you can rename it. But you're going to want to extract it. Then you're going to get a file called this. Then you delete that file, because if you don't delete that file, it's going to corrupt it. But you're going to want to rename this to now .db. Of course, you're going to want to push your arrow so you don't delete every single word of that named file. But here, now once that's renamed DB, that file there, once you put it into a repository such as GitLab or GitHub, and use the raw link to that repository, which is better to do it through releases, which I will show you in a minute. It will work now, because that file isn't corrupt. Whereas if you was to just rename that file, it won't work. As you can see now, the file has the packages in it. That's what we need. We need the file that has the packages, not a compressed file with a compressed file. We need the file that was compressed in the first place with the packages inside. So we're going to test that anyway in this video. This one I'm going to be showing. So I'll just remove the KDE portal from this installation of the KDE dev, because I found some bugs. A bug, that was the only bug, and has been the only bug that I've had for the last 4 days using this. Now, I had some sort of an issue with Brave. It is quite a hefty browser as well. So I was trying to upload packages on there, and I just wasn't really getting anywhere with the packages. So I had to use Firefox. For some reason, it's Google related. And even Google Chrome didn't work. I was having some problems. And yeah, we've got some messages today. So, lack of automated build. And build script. This prevents to confirm the integrity of the app image. As an example, GitHub is automated, and the action at least ensures the origins of the app image and release are. Mate, my stuff is The origin of the app image. The packages are from Pacman repos. What do you mean origin of the app image? I built it from scratch from Pacman repos. That's how most of my app images are built, unless it doesn't work that way. You know, because Discord was a funny one to be built in. The origins of this is built from Pacman repos. I'll do this quick. Yeah, well, some of these are built from Pacman repos, and some of them are built from Debian repos, because that's where I built them from. I download the packages, I get the executables, and as long as there's no binaries involved that are linked to certain symlinks, then it will work in an app image. Because for those that don't know, app images are actually not universal. No, they're not universal. They only work on the compiled distribution that the libraries were linked to. So if your distribution's compiled to Python 6.12, no, Python 12, whatever version it is. What Python are we on now? So if your package is compiled to Python, let's have a look, people. Oh, no, that one. If your package is compiled to Python 3.13, then it will only work on a system that has that package installed. If yours is if you're on a system that's got Python 3.14 installed, then that package will not work in an app image, because app images are only work to the binaries that it's compiled to on the distribution that it's compiled to at the time that it was compiled. So no, they're not universal in that sense. They're only really universal if you use a universal language. So it's all down to the package creator. Now what we're looking for, I actually was actually due to update all of these packages recently, so it's just a matter of now coming off topic and trying to sort something that I didn't expect to work out. But the origins of this is obviously just Pac-Man, because there's only one package and it clearly says Arch. Built from Arch repos. Here, man. Oh my, I've had enough of people, mate. I'm gonna just close it, bruv. Sorry to seem rude on camera, but when people just come up with stupid, dumb things like this and don't check things that I'll be putting here for a reason. Here, I'm gonna close the issue with an image, mate. No, not a link. Yeah, with a link and an image. What do you expect me to say, mate? It says unofficial and it says built from Arch repos. Link. How do we mention link code / drop files? I don't know what people want me to say, mate. The origins clearly says Arch repos. People don't. I wear glasses 24/7. I'm not wearing my glasses now, and I can still see what it says on the screen to a certain extent because it's a little bit blurry. And I can make out that it clearly says built from Arch repos. What do you mean the origin? Origin? Where do you expect me to get the package? If it's for Arch, then where do you expect me to get it from, mate? I'm building it from Arch repos. Here, we close it anyway. Here's your image, mate. I had enough of people talking rubbish, mate. Here. Click. I don't know what people want. I'm not professional, mate. I'm not professional. This. I don't know what else. I have nothing else I can help. There. Would you expect me to say? Clearly says built from Arch repos. To be fair, mate, I'm not professional. The information is clear on the site, so I have nothing else I can help with here, bruv. What are you saying, mate? You know? Continuous builds, whatever. Some people are just not happy that I'll be posting app images and I've took their little seat on the Pling store, because there's a lot of people on the Pling store that didn't realise that half of these app images weren't even on there. So that I'm putting Facebook app. I've made an unofficial Facebook app image and I've uploaded it because no one else has done it. And then I've had Robert Cooper jump down my throat because he's trying to make money off of people by making an ISO creating application, and he's trying to charge people for the same features that everyone else is providing on the internet for free. So he wanted me to help him make an application ISO create a GUI. I said I've got my own tools to be making. Furthermore, nobody's going to be paying for the same features that everyone else is providing for free. You make an advanced version with features that no one else has got, then you might have some sort of luck. But sorry, I don't know what world that this guy lives in. I'm sorry, Robert May, but you ain't making no money off of features that everyone else is providing for free. Then furthermore, Perio's had to sit there for years to study and make, mate. So this is why I'm thinking to open source my software. I made my software open source because Perio sat there for ages, mate. You try and make money off of someone else's work that sat there, you know. He's got his own life and whatever, and he enjoys doing it, and you're going to ruin that bit of fun. Just, yeah, it is what it is. You can't ruin people's fun that have sat there and studied and done something, mate. And when it comes to little things like this, yeah, and people don't study or go on the sites and take the information for what it's worth, that link that I just clicked on to that other app image, that guy could potentially be the one that's supplying it in the first place, and he don't like the fact that I'm posting it on Pling and he can't put it up on there now because I've already got one on there, and maybe it don't make sense to make a duplicate on the Pling store. I don't know, but a lot of this is why people now jumping down my throat. So I started uploading applications on the Pling store, and Robert Cooper took it upon himself to backchat me in one of my uploads and complain about it because of app images not being universal and it not working on Debian. I don't live underneath a rock, mate. I'm not using Debian because there's no point sitting on packages that are proclaimed LTS when everything is rolling. The kernel's rolling, the desktop's rolling, every other package is rolling pretty much because it's been built on Git and then built from source. So what's the point of sticking with something that could potentially slow down and bog down your system because you're using old packages that have got bugs that you don't know about? You know, fair enough, they've been tested, but then how long have they been tested for? Because they're rolling. How long have they been rolling for? How long have they been tested for? Anyway, we've got a DB file now. Sorry, people. We've got version 2 DB, we've got desktop files. I don't even think we need the desktop files, but we're going to do it anyway. This is pretty much what I was doing with app images when I first got into app images. Didn't understand how to do them. Put every file in an app image in it. As long as it compiles as happy days. There could be three .pngs. One in the main folder, one in the middle folder, and then one in the icons folder. You know? I didn't know nothing. I was studying. I do this for fun. Of course, now I've studied so long now, I only know that I only need that PNG in the first folder where the .appdir is, and then in the icons folder, and then obviously you need the .desktop in the main folder where the appdir is, and also the app run goes in to the appdir. You know, I've studied and sat there for time and obviously know these things now. Anyway, back to business. So we got now the V2 is what I'm building. We got some updates on there, it's popping off or whatever. So we got the V2 kernels, which is what I done yesterday, and that also needs a .db, but we're not doing that today because I've got more kernels to be posting just after this video. But we've got the V2 desktop, which is the initial commit, and well, this is the KD banana packages. So this is what I done yesterday. I'm gonna basically just shove the DB file and the files on there. I might test this later without the DB. We're at packages, right? So we just upload this. Yeah, we just upload this. Yeah, both files. Then what we do is you just come here. Well, we don't necessarily need to copy that link really. We go back to the Pacman config. We just copy one of these links. Got a link, but we don't want it like that. We don't want the tag, we want the download. So change the tag to download, and then we need to put a slash at the end of it. So the link is pretty much similar to what we've originally got there. We've got the V2 releases, download, V2 desktop. That's the link. We want to set it as signal never. I actually tried to do this through Dropbox and a few other things, and GitHub just seemed like the way. They've obviously got some sort of a download limit, upload limit, I don't know, but I've got away with nearly 4 GB now just in this two repositories nearly. It's going to be 4 GB each repository pretty much. But now, we've got them 2 files there, we've updated the Pacman. If we come here now, we're going to see that it at least downloads the Pacman repository that we've just added. Do this correct. Claude mods kernels tested. .db. Have we done the right link? I don't know, we'll just have to look, people, do some trial and error. Should have just worked, because I've done this up countless times. Okay, yeah, this is why. Trial and error, we're doing some tests. So this needs to be called V2 desktop, so the same name of what the repository is. So the repository is called V2 desktop, we know that because the .db file is called V2 desktop, and that's what you name it. So whatever that .db file was named is what you should name. And we could use the console in here. I don't even know why that's open, but yeah, let's just, so we got the V2 desktop. Now you're like, yay, the repository's added. But unless you have the right link, which is what I just gave you, you are not going to get anything from this command. So then we go back, there's another command, I think it's SL. I used the preserve command earlier simply because I was having issues with OBS opening. And then I worked out it's the portal, so I removed KD wallet portal. And this is the command we need. And the KD wallet portal was causing issues on here. So I had to remove the KD wallet portal. But this is the command we need. We're obviously going to need sudo. I don't know why that's not got a sudo there. But then we know that the repository and the database is set up correctly from the methods that we've just talked about for the last 30 minutes. That took a bit long because of a user obviously having a go at me over an app image I've built. He obviously wasn't too happy that, you know, I've not said where the origins are, and maybe he didn't obviously click the right link to get the right information at the right time, which is what I just expressed now. Well, obviously, if we hadn't done the steps that I've just shown in this video, however long it took for me to obviously show the steps, we wouldn't have this repository showing packages like we see right now. It would say that the database is corrupt, and it will not show any packages. Now, of course, we know that everything is now here, everything is working. We can actually download a package from this repository. I don't know why we would do that, but I think we could obviously do that if we really wanted. And I've turned the KD dev packages off from the KD Linux repos, so we could just test this in this video, funny enough. So, of course, now that I'm learning Arch from some of the most advanced Arch users, because I obviously started here, I wasn't advanced. Here we go. We're just going to install that package from my repository, and we know it works. Now, of course, my new updates are going to be using the KD dev packages, KD banana packages that contain the KD dev, and they're going to be using my repositories. I'm going to be turning off the Arch repositories and the CachyOS repositories in my distributions. If you wish to turn them on, then be my guest and go into the pacman.config. Although, for safety reasons, as well as what everyone else says on the internet, you don't need to update every single day of the week, really. You should be on Arch every week, at least, or every 2 weeks. I've done months at a time without updating on Arch recently, although it's advised to update every week at least. You don't necessarily need to do that. And what they do say as well is don't fix what's not broken. So, if your distribution's running with an uptime of with an uptime of 52 minutes, is there any need to update your packages to then potentially not have any uptime whatsoever. For those that think Arch is very, very stable, just like what Chris tried to tech in his last video, I'm pretty sure he said something along the lines of Arch has been very stable, but if you think Arch is stable and to even say that it's stable, it is a joke. Arch is extremely unstable. Yes, it's been running 52 minutes on my system, but 2 years ago you done an update. I don't know how often you'll be updating your system, but if you done an update like I would be doing most recently every single day of the week, because obviously I want to know what new KD dev features are coming out, so there might be a new feature that comes out later today, because they release their packages pretty much every day. The new KD dev packages come out, so there might even be some updates here. I don't know. It's a new kernel from yesterday now. From yesterday there was a kernel which I haven't installed. I did update that on here. Of course I knew there was a new kernel, which is why I provided the new kernels on my GitHub repository, which isn't actually part of V2. I think it might be part of V2 releases. So yeah, we got the kernels from yesterday that got released 18 hours ago. They're the latest kernels, as well as what I said, we haven't got a database for that at the moment, so you can't actually download from that repository. Yes. But really and truly, I'm not the smartest person on the internet. Don't listen to me because I'm not professional. Take everything I say with a pinch of salt. Do your own tests in a virtual machine and then grasp what you gather from there. Do your own tests throughout the day or whatever. All I'm saying is just don't update your system as often as you think you need to, because you really don't need to be updating all your system all the time. If it's running 52 minutes, uptime with no problems, then there's no need to update it, unless you've got any, some sort of bugs that could potentially be fixed by an update. I don't really think there is any need. Now, of course, if you're using the KD dev, you're going to want to update. That's the whole point of this, I want to be on a rolling distribution. I know there's going to be bugs. That's why I'm now making a stable repository for those that want to test the KD dev, but at a time that it did work, because there was bugs just before the most recent release of the KD dev within the last 5 days, 6 days, which is what led me on to getting onto this again. I was having so many issues with the KD dev, that's why I didn't provide any updates. I had issues with the applications coming into a corner like this, and let me try and do it so that I get half a screen with the application like this, and then you couldn't use it for what it was worth because of the application being there on the screen at the side. And it was a Wayland issue or whatever it was with the KD dev packages, and only most recently did it get fixed. And obviously I was testing my KD Linux distribution that I built from the packages to know this error, and then it finally got fixed, and I said, right, it was time to up the ante. It's time to get back on these packages, provide something stable at a time when it is working, and have a roll in at the same time. Because I don't know for you lot, of course my gameplay isn't going to be the best because I'm on dev packages, but I'm not bothered about that. If you want to install the Plasma stable packages, I'll provide a script for that, but I will primarily provide it in the dev packages, and I will be gaming off of it to test it as well. But at the end of the day, I'll much rather be on the latest desktop packages to know what my theme's going to be like, to know what I'm going to be using in a few weeks time, instead of sitting there on Facebook and watching all these new features come out, and they're telling you it's coming out, this is a new feature that we've added, and then in 3 weeks later you get the feature when I've already got it. So we got all of these new features, like one of these this new feature's coming out soon, so you can add a directory, you can change the colour of it, you change the name of it. Hey, we got a red folder. Whee! I love it. I like the idea of it, but I just don't like the idea of this. Because now I'm losing a lot of things that could have potentially just been here on this menu, because it makes no sense to have it here. I've got a lot of menus, so my UI is going to obviously mess with that a little bit. But overall, I like the feature, I just don't like where it's placed. That could be here. Seriously, that could be here, part of this menu, instead of having it as part of my actions menu, of the actions menu, should I say. And, yeah, that's it. I really don't know what else to say. Obviously, I've had a user message me on my GitHub to do with something he's obviously not gone on the internet and researched. So when he's gone to, he's clearly not even downloaded the app image, because if he had gone to download the app image, he would have clearly seen that it said built from Arch repos. And I don't want to sit here taking the mick out of people, but it seems to be that I keep bumping into a lot of Patricks. And by Patrick, I mean Patrick by SpongeBob, you know, come out of his house, he's got coffee in his hand, his rocks up like that, you know. And if he actually stood there and drank that coffee, maybe he'd have a bit of knowledge to what he's talking about, you know, because it seems to be every single time on the internet. I'm not here to take the mick out of people. I've been in the same boat myself. I felt like Patrick, like, oh, I just forgot something, I need to go watch a video, or go back to the same information that I've gone on before to do the same thing that I've done over and over and over again. It's inevitable. We all go through this stage, you know. But we need to learn from our mistakes, you know. And I'm just forever finding people in that same situation, and I refer them to as Patricks. Yeah. So we've got Patrick from SpongeBob with his coffee in his hand. He doesn't drink it. He just stands there outside of his rock whilst it's lit up. I don't know if you lot know about that picture. But we go on there to have a little laugh right now. We've got a few Patricks online at the moment. And I'm not here, obviously, to take the mick out of people. We've all, like I said, been in the same boat. But perhaps if we drank that coffee, maybe we would actually get somewhere, you know? I don't know if he's a hater, I don't know if he generally just wanted to know where the origin of it come from, I don't know. But from my understanding, when you're asking stupid little questions like that, it doesn't matter where the origins come from. You know I'm unprofessional, you know I'm not a professional developer. I've told you it's unofficial even on the page. I don't know what else I can tell these people. There's only so much I can. Here we go. Patrick with his coffee coming out of there. That's in the movie. But the picture that I had, he's already outside of his rock with the coffee. So it's just, that is the picture in the film. There it is. It's the GIF. That's it. Comes out of his rock with his coffee, scratches his belly, doesn't know what the fuck to do because he won't drink the coffee. If he drank the coffee, he wouldn't look so tired. He'd be scratching his belly like what the fuck to do, you know. And that's my theory. We've all been in the same boat. We've all been there, and that's why I drink coffee. You know, I actually drink my coffee. I smoke fags. I do my research. I go on to things. I hate reading wikis, but at the end of the day, if there's information on that wiki that I need to get somewhere, of course I'm going to read it. And we're in the same boat right here. He's looking for an origin to do where this has come from. It says it right here, built from Arch repos. Where else am I going to get the app image from? I don't build the app. I'm not going to build the application from source. It just makes no sense. So I might as well just provide a package that's already built and turn it into an app image. Of course, app images ain't universal, but I'm on Arch, so we could all live underneath a rock and be Patrick. I do like Ubuntu and I do like Debian, but needless to say, we're all going to be Patrick. We just sit on Debian and Arch for the rest of our lives. Unless you're using KD Neon, which makes sense because then you're on the roll-in set of packages. You're not just sitting on a desktop like Kubuntu or Ubuntu for 6 months when there's going to be bugs. We know there's going to be bugs. You know there's going to be bugs. If you want to sit on that, that's your own fault if you get any problems. Don't claim to be sitting on the best distribution because that is just not the case. Even KD say that you shouldn't be doing that, and you know that you're in the wrong for doing that. Do I really need to be expressing the information that KD say? I don't know. But let's put it out there for those that might put a comment on this video and say, well, KD, don't do that, because some people don't know about KD Linux and they haven't done their research and clearly not a KD fan, you know, because I'm a big KD fan. There's a lot of Spanish KD fans as well. A lot of Spanish KD fans I've found. A lot of them. There's a lot. I wonder why. Wonder why? Well, my last name's D'Souza, for those that don't know, if that means anything to ya. And there's a lot of KD fans. So we're going to go on to Google, because Brave isn't the best for searching. And it doesn't know anything about KD Linux, because it was updated at a time where that information wasn't about. So we go, or it might have been there, I don't know. I'm being a bit fast. Here, so we come up to the bottom of this, and this is where it says, right directly at the bottom, where does it say? For those that don't know, and I've expressed this countless amount of times, it's not at the bottom, is it? Architecture, long-term, end-of-life support. Here, KD Neon was KD's first version of a self-made OS. It fulfills the distributed by KD requirement, but fails on the reliability angle because of the packages on our repo system. That's why it's hard to build KD dev from source on Ubuntu or Debian, because the packages are all different names every time they release a repository. Anyway, back to what they said. Yeah, back to what they're saying. Forget about what I'm saying, I already knew that, but let's get back to what they're saying. But fails on a reliability angle due to the Ubuntu LTS base that ironically becomes unstable because it needs to be tinkered with to get Plasma to build on it. Woo! KD's dead from source, basically, or the beta, or when you build it from the KD Builder SRC. For those that don't know, that's actually how you build Plasma from source packages. So forget what Arch provides you, and Ubuntu and everybody else. Do you want to make your own distribution, LFS, you build the kernel, you build every package from Git, pretty much, that's how Arch does it. And this is how you build the desktop from Git. This is how you build the desktop from Git, and this is what they put. This is KD's own in-house desktop builder. So we've got the KD SRC build, and we've also got the newer version, I think it is. Although I'll be honest, this is what I've been using the most. It's the most supported. So anyway, because it ironically needs to be tinkered with to get Plasma to build on it, breaking the LTS promise, because you got to sit there downloading 101 different you got to sit there and search for 101 different package names that change every single time they release a release. So Ubuntu 24.04 could be released, is already released. You go into 24.10, the package names are different. You go into 25.04, the package names are different. Arch is all the same, always the same. The package name never change, only the version. So I could download that same package 3 years from now, guarantee it's still being there, unless it's been made obsolete, which ain't gonna happen if you're on a desktop, you know, because then desktop packages get requirements obviously get updated. It needs to be tinkered with. It is built on fairly old technology and requires a lot of packaging busy work. Hey, both of which are non-goals for KD Linux. Non-goals for anybody. Nobody wants to be standing outside their rock with a coffee in hand, scratching their head, looking for packages now. Anyway, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Said I might move to the beta. I might put the beta packages in the repo system as well. Moving forward, this is what I'm doing. I'm getting with the times. I'm staying rolling. I don't care if it breaks tomorrow. There's a stable repository for when that happens. And when that does happen, that repository won't get updated, because I'm not going to be stupid to release packages that are not tested. I'm going to be on them packages for weeks upon weeks before I shove them in that repository. And if you want to go on the rolling, which is what I'll also be testing, then why not? Jump on the bandwagon of rolling. Don't sit there and be that Debian and Ubuntu user. You know, if you're sitting there on KD Neon or something rolling, desktop rolling, then why not? Kernels have always been rolling. I don't know why you would. It comes down to components, doesn't it? Really, I really don't know why you would want to be using bleeding edge hardware with KD Neon. This is why I didn't in the first place. That's why I'm on the handheld edition of the Casio OS with the latest kernel. There's no point putting Debian on these components. I want to be on Qt6, the latest rolling packages, you know, because when Qt6 releases a new update, you can bet your bottom dollar that the performance is going to be better, because that's what everything is built off of. The kernel, Qt6, Wayland, What else do you need? That's everything. There's your UI. So you've got Qt6, you've got Wayland, and you've got your kernel. There might be a few other packages needed for them. You know, there's dependencies to them packages, but they are like the base packages that you need for a desktop. Wayland, Qt6, and the kernel. Forget about Xorg, that's now becoming obsolete and being thrown underneath the bus. That, for those that don't know, the desktops are now going Wayland native and they're getting rid of X11. Forget about all of that. They're your dependencies. You only need the kernel, Qt6 base, because from Arch repos, it might be a different name in Ubuntu, and Wayland. And there's your protocols, mate. There's KD. You want to install the desktop on top of that? That's going to have its own dependencies. You know, it's up to you how you build it, what you put with it. But the packages don't change. Only bugs and features. You know. So that's all I've got to say today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Sorry I got a bit lost talking to a user. Really didn't really need to say anything really about all of that. But I just feel like endlessly talking to people that don't, you know, they don't see the obvious, they don't state the obvious, they don't know the obvious, they don't spend their time and actually look at things before complaining to people. We've been there ourselves, you know, just want to get something done, so you do something out of the ordinary just to speed things up or whatever, or because you're not in a good mind frame, or you don't like something, you shoved across a message and antagonise or wound someone up on purpose. I don't know. The way I see it, we're all going to do the same thing, whether someone likes it or not. You know, depending on the situation. And with me, it goes straight over the top of my head. At the end of the day, if they complain about something, as simple as petty as that, I'm going to try my best to do what I can in the nicest way possible. But at the same time, I'll be honest with you, I really couldn't care less. One person complaining about an app image that was built from Arch repos and hasn't sat there and spent the time to research the information provided on the internet and then blame it on me for not providing enough information. I'm sorry, mate. It's not my fault. I support any country underneath the sun. I'm not a racist. If you message me today that you want me to support a certain language, you can even go on my GitHub and see that I've actually done that. Then I'll support a certain language with one of my applications. I'm not like that. I'm not entirely English myself. My last name's D'Souza, so wherever the hell that come from, I don't know. There's a lot of speculation in the family. Yeah, I just don't know what to do apart from laugh about it. I'm sorry if this has gone on a bit too long with you lot people. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you some of the things that I'm doing. And just talk about what I'm doing with my distributions. When I do provide an update, I'm not too sure when that will be. At the moment, I'm just building up my distribution with some of the new things that I've made. So like my new updater that I'm providing here. So I'm on the latest 103. Done a lot of tests with that. I've got my Apex Music 102. I think that might be an old version, to be fair. We've got my YouTube widget that I've just built that you can log in, and it has saved the login, but I don't know how long for. Maybe 5 minutes until you reboot. I don't know, something like that. There's a lot of testing and things that I'm building, and for those that are waiting for updates and things, I can assure you that they are coming. This isn't a time frame, and yeah, that's it. Hope you've enjoyed watching the video. I'm now going to get back to work, see what I can do with my time during the day today. Hope you're enjoying your day or night, whatever time it is when you watch this video. It's a bye from me, Aaron, or Claude Mods, which is my online name.